Dom Joly, remember him? He was kind of big here in the UK in the 90s on telly. He had his own show. It was a comedy show. And I say kind of big. He wasn't really. I'd say he was mediocre. All right, he made people laugh, but he was a one-trick pony. He did many sketches, but the one that sticks out, and the one he's known for, is walking around with a huge mobile phone and shouting into it, startling people stood around him. And that's it. That's all he was. He was never going to appear on any comedy awards show or a comedy hall of fame, because the guy wasn't a comedy genius. Like I said, he was just mediocre. Anyway, he's one of these woke, lefty, progressive celebrity types on Twitter now, and that's all he does. He calls everyone far right, Nazis, fascists. He's another Gary Lineker. It's literally tweet after tweet slagging off Brexit, the Tories, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Trump, Nigel Farage, people like you and me, basically normal, decent people who have conservative views. He doesn't like us at all. We are the shit on his shoe. So Lee Anderson MP, he tweeted a photo of the British Union flag, and fair play, and he said, "A beautiful sight. I remind myself every day how lucky I am to belong to this flag. Why wouldn't I?" It's escaped him that the Union flag he posted was upside down, but you know, I get the sentiment and I respect that. And of course, Dom Joly didn't like this because it's pro-British, isn't it? And he lost his shit and he replied with, "They say that patriotism is the last refuge to which a scoundrel clings." Now, I may be wrong, but I think the true wording of this quote is, they say that religion is the last refuge to which a scoundrel clings. I might be wrong, correct me in the comments. Anyway, the guy thinks that Lee Anderson MP is a scoundrel. He doesn't like him because he has more in common with normal working class people than someone like Dom Joly, a guy who used all his university qualifications to try and win a debate about how clever he was on Twitter at one point. How vain is that? And then, as only happens on Twitter, somebody called him out on it, and they said, "And what do they say about those that mock patriotism, Dom?" And Dom Joly replied with that they're not using nationalism to blame foreigners for their problems. Now, he meant to say foreigners there, but he spelt it F-O-R-R-I-N-S. I mean, how patronising is that? That's just, you know, it shows Dom Joly, for everything that he is here, a completely out of touch celebrity has-been who has nothing better to do than to get likes on Twitter by slagging off people for having the wrong opinions or voting the wrong way to him. Of course, Dom Joly is another celebrity has-been on Twitter who thinks that there's nothing wrong with mass migration, and the reason being mass migration hasn't affected him at all, because he lives in an exclusive, posh, wealthy community, and the government don't put illegal migrants crossing the channel in the thousands every day into posh, gated, wealthy communities, do they? So they won't affect their schooling for their kids. Their kids go to private schooling. They won't affect their social services. They won't affect their health service either, because no doubt people like Dom Joly have private health care, so it's not going to touch them. Mass illegal migration isn't going to touch people like Dom Joly, so people like Dom Joly are all for it, and anyone who speaks out against it, whom mass illegal migration affects their daily lives, well, we're all racists and Nazis, aren't we? That's how out of touch people like Dom Joly really are. Anyway, that's my video, that's what I think. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And until the next time, take care of yourselves, and Roger Trout.